straw bale and other materials not explicitly in the code. So this is a little therapy for me. It took 6 months to get a building permit for straw bale in the city of Toronto. So I'm just going to bare my soul to you in the next 15 minutes. If I ramble on, just kick me out. We can talk with beer later. Lots of stories. So step 1. City owns a straw bale house. Should be a slam dunk. Told the client that. So this is my tale. So step 2. So we hand in for permit. I just treated it like in every other building permit. City of Toronto has one. The fourth pig who we were working with is the contractor. Also got a permit in North York. Signed, stamped, delivered. Official permit for a straw bale house. No problem, we're going to get it. And even the people at the desk said, don't ask for an alternative solution. We don't like doing those. So I believed them. Not working for me. So the gentleman at the thing finally got back to me. I pestered him weekly on it. I won't name any names today. I want to be slightly professional so I can swear and things like that. So I pestered him and pestered him and pestered him. Finally, by email, they sent me this list. I think it was 3 pages long of everything that was wrong with my building. So apparently, line render is not allowed in the code. It's not written in. But I asked him, well, what if I put stucco? Could I do that? Sure. The other thing that's not allowed in the code, because it doesn't say straw bale in the code, is straw bale because it doesn't meet the thermal qualities. It has no thermal properties. It's officially, it's not in the code. It's not airtight enough. It's not fireproof, and everything else is wrong with it. Okay, great. I'm like, what am I going to do? Client thinks it's going to get ready. It's all going to work out. Okay, what's next? Step 4, prepare a fake building permit set. So what we did is we turned it into a double stud construction wall. So I'll give you a little bit of a construction analysis of the building. So we did the first analysis. I had structural design, everything. So a straw bale wall a la fourth pig is designed like this. We have a 2x6 stud every 3 feet and a triple top plate. Balloon framing, simple Bob's your uncle. Put the straw bale in, walk away, it's pretty much done. So what I had to do is I had to actually put a fake 2x4 wall on the outside, every 16 inches, because they understand 16 inches. And I put hardy panel on the outside, cheapest material I could figure out, just in case I actually had to build it. And then I stuffed the thing with cellulose. And I'm thinking, cellulose for 14, 15 inches, straw bale. Cellulose, straw bale. Isn't just one more processed version of the other? You know, it's the same thing. Anyway, so I plotted the demise of the city while I was doing this, got the permit, started construction, so that we just built the one we meant to build, which is the 3-foot center. And we kept putting it off and kept putting it off, not building the outer wall. So then while I was fuming, I was so mad. Oh yeah, I said some things. I called all of my friends, every single one, and I have to say one of the best parts about the community in here, in this room, and in natural building is that we all tend to want to help and give advice, and I got tons of advice, and it really made me feel better because I was really in the low point. So I was really happy that all of these people could help me. I could especially call out the ASRI because in Vancouver, they had this group that did an alternative solution for straw bale. And I was like, oh, thank God, somebody has written this thing down. Except that it was for the building code in BC. So, next step. Transpose that document into the Ontario Building Code. That took about a month. And then scour the internet. I had more articles than I ever cared to. So I added probably 25% to the number of articles that were already there and available. I don't know what this is, so you're going to have to help me with that. And so I prepared this kick-ass alternative solution. It was the longest thing I've ever read. Ben Pauley said, Terrell, when I sent it to Guelph or to the other, hey, it was small, you want it? I said, no. I'm going to go into the sphincter here. I'm going to write this thing so that everything is written out. So I did it that way, and I went, every time I had to go to get a building permit in the city of Toronto, I would go to the counter to some poor, unsuspecting person behind the thing and said, I have some questions. The poor woman by the fourth question had gone back and forth to a gentleman at the back thing and said, he's coming, he's frustrated with all your questions. So a poor guy in North York had to come out and he explained to me why straw bale was all wrong and nobody should use it. And I did it at the City of Toronto and I emailed people, poor unsuspecting people. You need to bother these people because it works out in the end. And so I kept plotting because I was really desperate to, you had to have positive thoughts. So the step 7 is I got so frustrated because the gentleman at the counter was laughing at my engineer, actually saying some not so professional things, frustrated, so I was like, okay, I'm going to get political. So I called the local councillor, and I called the CBO, Chief Building Official. You never get a Chief Building Official in Toronto, by the way. There's her number, because that's really important to know. But it's Karen. Karen is her assistant. She's a very lovely lady. And she finally got me into the person in charge of this area of Toronto. And that gentleman, very interesting. So I got in contact with him, with the man in the area, and he said, oh, well, you've got this alternative solution. We'll send it to me. And I'll get my best people working on it, and we'll get back to you shortly. Okay, yeah, finally I'm getting somewhere. I've been up and down. The counselor tried to help me. That didn't work out so well. So I was told this every week on a Friday. I would call them in the morning and say, do you have any questions? Do you need any more information? Got it all? Oh, yes, fine. My best people are working on it. Get back to you shortly. 4 weeks later. Get impatient and ask for an answer. So this is exactly what was told to me over the phone by a bureaucrat. You have been denied, and no, you can't get that in writing. So I'm like, wait a second. So I jumped up and down and yelled and screamed and did all that stuff that I, that I want to do, and said, well, can I at least have a meeting? Can I have some sort of a meeting? Okay, you can have a meeting. So then they got a hold of all those random people that I had attacked with straw bale questions and put that as their team. Poor guys hated me because none of them were from the area of Toronto that I was actually building in. They were all grumbling, sitting down at the thing. And I got 4 people, 2 engineers, myself, and our straw bale expert from Fourth Pig to come down and see Toronto to talk to them. And we sit down, and the meeting starts a little early. One person can't, one of their guys on their side isn't there yet. And one of their guys goes, so what is this straw bale stuff anyway? And I have a book. So I pulled out my book and I showed him straw bale. He goes, but you can't see the straw. That changes everything. So I realized there that not even the city reads your drawings. It's not just the contractor. Not even the city reads your drawings. So it was a little heated at the beginning. One gentleman said that your tests are American for the fire test. And in America, they test from the outside to the inside. But in Canada, we test from the inside to the outside. And I said, but they're all symmetrical. He said, is that explicitly in the drawing? I think so. Maybe in my construction notes. So it went on like this for a while, and we realized that, one, nobody had ever read the movie. The best people had never been called. The documentation had never been sent out. And then I really lucked out. I got one of the buildings examiner, one, to apologize and to say that he was embarrassed for the City of Toronto and that he would lead the alternative solution group, and he wouldn't make me pay unless we actually won. And I thought, okay, great, because that's $2,000 I don't want to have to spend if I don't have to. So I gave it to him, and the 2 poor gentlemen that I had harassed either via email or randomly at the City Hall were also on that group. Anyway, so what happened next was unexpected bumps in the road. We recorded the meeting that we had so that I could take really official notes for that meeting. We didn't tell anybody. But I really, really wanted to be able to express myself. And so I just sort of let the taping go on, and then I did my minutes from that. And in the course of the minutes, I wrote down everything the examiner said. And there were so many mistakes, I have to say, on the examiner side. And I can't blame them 100%. They can't, like, it's something that, how many straw bale houses come to the city of Toronto? I think this is number 4. So, their knowledge of the code, it's at varying stages, and they'll say anything when, put into a corner. So we put in they're all on my website, by the way. You can get a copy of this if you want to know what the city of Toronto thought about it. But we wrote down everything that they said, and then we had a specific addendum for every single one, because I spent a week calling all these people at the OBC, just trying to figure out, the ministry, just saying, you can do this. And the one specifically that I thought was interesting, this is the one that pissed this poor gentleman off, is he stated emphatically that I needed to have my straw bale meet mineral wool insulation specification and testing. And I was like, where is that in the code? And he said, that's in part, I think it's 2 point something. It's in the, I've forgotten it now, it's just therapy. But it's in a part, one of the addendums at the end of the code. And, there's that part where you have to do railings in one thing, and this is all about the thermal part. And I was like, SB3, I think it is. I said, it says there specifically that you have to have it meet any wall that's this far away from the building. It was 0.6 meters. And okay, fine. But it ends up being that if your wall actually has a rating and somebody's tested it, that doesn't matter anyway. So I was lucky to find that out, but he didn't know that, but he was emphatic in the meeting. So I sort of pissed him off by sending him all the information that I had found out by actually calling people. And he sent me an email at 4:30 in the afternoon. This was probably 3 weeks after that hearing where I had heard, yes, we'll do the alternative solution. The head of the building department, or the building department guy goes, you can apply now for alternative solution, we'll take your money. They applied for alternative solution. We bought the straw bale. We started building. I have no building permit. I have my fake building permit. And I get this email that says, so we were told that we could get the building permit if the building is 0.6 meters away from the property line or closer. You have to add, it was welded wire mesh at the corner and Type-X drywall on the inside, because, a 1 hour fire rating isn't good enough, even though that says so in the code that I only need 45 minutes. Fine, I'm really lucky, my site was triangular, and it was only 0.6 meters at the corner of the building. So the amount of wire mesh was this stuff, and there was no need for the drywall. It was sort of a compensation. So at 4:30 in the afternoon, 3 weeks later, after I've paid all this money, I've got my hopes up, we've ordered the straw, I get an email, it's 3 pages long from this gentleman, and it says, where the building is 1.2 meters away from the property line, you are required to put welded wire mesh and Type-X drywall. My heart sank. What I'm going to do is 4:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. I wrote an email. It looked like a nuclear explosion, that email. And I was just about to send it. Luckily, I sent it to Melinda instead of the 4th pig, and she calmed me down. She said, Terrell, take the emotion out of it. You're going to go to jail for stuff. So I started plotting. Anyway, I overcame the bump in the road. Monday morning, I had finally spent the whole weekend going through the code again and telling them what asses they were about 1.2 meters and 6. God, I didn't get right with that stuff. And then, luckily, that lovely building examiner who finally had taken my son, and I'm not actually not allowed to say his name, he's called He Who Must Not Be Named, because he doesn't want any more kooks who want to build the weird building materials to come after him before he retires. So I got a hold of him, he said, what's wrong? I said, well, did you get the email? He said, well, I didn't read it. And I told him what was wrong, and I went down, I'm having my coffee, I was sitting at the desk going, it's a fucking thing. And he's like, calm down, calm down. What did you say? He said, well, good thing I'm ahead of him in the pecking scale. I'm here, and he's here, and he doesn't have my job. So we'll just rewrite the thing. It'll be okay. Okay. My license is on the line at this moment. We drank a lot that weekend. Anyway, so we overcame the process. We got it to this stage. We still don't have a building permit. We're still working on that part. I'm just hoping on Twitter, I'm like, okay, straw is up. Hope we get building permit by occupancy. And then we had a big party, yay! And we celebrated the blower door test, and we invited everybody in the community to come and enjoy that day and find out how we did. And it was a partial retrofit. We did probably 80% of the house. 2 rooms had a lot of beautiful paneling in them, and we felt that that was sort of part of the house, and part of the owners was really... So we gave up on the air sealing of oak paneling from 100 years ago, but we got 2 air changes per hour. So we were very pleased with that, with straw bale and with the rest of the house. And then step 15 is post your kick-ass alternative solution on the website for everyone else to use. So please feel free to come and borrow and peruse, hear the details. And then the last step is get invited to speak to the Ontario Building Officials National Conference next year on how to get a permit for straw bale. Giving away, so I'll just get a card here. And it'll be random, I swear. And it's Chris Johnson, Pro ICF. All right.
Did you sign it? Signed by the author.
There you go.
There is eat your veggies, and there's lots of booze out there, so you guys have to stick around, all right? Please make use of getting to know each other. Thanks a lot for coming, everyone. And if you could, give us your feedback. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.